Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for SFR. We are here. It is round number 12 at the Qatar Grand Prix. My name is Jamie Morris and it could be just me tonight. So hopefully you're doing alright. We just arrived here in the Middle East after the Japanese Grand Prix last week in Suzuka then. Of course, we're here in Doha, the capital city of Qatar, just outside of it. Hopefully we can see some great races around here too, which we do see around here, especially on the long 1 kilometer straight, as we see plenty of overtaking and a changing for position as well. So let's see then how things go on here in Qatar, and all 20 drivers are in the session then. So it is a full house around here in Qatar. And I can't wait to see what happens on the circuit as well. All 20 drivers are here, and we've got some people who are returning back. Crossfire Strikes is one of them, and Ramavaj is also another driver who returns on the roster. And the Hungarian driver is back indeed. He has won his own Grand Prix before back in Hungary, but he is back here tonight, and every time he races he always puts on a fantastic show. Last season he didn't turn up, but the season before he was absolutely rapid. I think it was at the Imola Grand Prix when he went from last to second. That's a memorable drive from him as well. And also he had his strong points later on in the season as well. So he is back, is Ramavaj. He took 4 podiums last time he raced in season 16. It was back in Saudi Arabia when he won the last time he won at this league as well. It was him versus Babbitt, two very strong drivers indeed, but unfortunately Babbitt couldn't make it due to commitments, and Ramavaj as well, who also had a ding-dong battle, as we said, on the final lap in the final corner in Saudi Arabia, so he has returned tonight. But back on the track, it is Jensen, the man who had a winning streak of 3 wins in a row. But on the counterpoint, he has had a lot of DNSs, and we'll see what he could do here tonight as well. Jensen finished P3 in Brazilian Grand Prix, and Japan hasn't really been updated, so I can't read you the championship standings because I don't think they've been updated so far. So let's see if it refreshes or not, if he has been updated. Not yet, so you might find the championship standings elsewhere. But right on board for Jensen as we head down towards turn 1, heavy braking zone into 4th gear. Look at that, using all the curb. Bring it over to the left-hand side, run over the curbs as we head towards turn 2. Open up the corner turn 2, bring it in tightly there as we come through turn 3, flat out corner, no issues whatsoever. You can see Jensen maximising every single part of the racetrack as he heads towards this triple hander, through turn 4, through turn 5, into gear, carrying the minimum speed as he can, in towards turn 6, but George Russell overtook Piastri in the sprint race on the soft compound tyres, but Piastri, with the better pace and better tyres, got him back later on in the Grand Prix. Right on board with the Mercedes as we sweep through these sequence of corners, and the middle sector, high-speed corners indeed, mid-speed, high-speed corners predominantly make up this circuit. As we enter we make our way now towards the end, the middle sector, it's a 57.0 for Jensen as he takes the triple right-hander fully flat out as you want to be. Now we're coming towards turn 16, he goes. As you can see, he's fueled the car for 1 lap only, so you best hope that this 1 lap does count for him so we can have a reference point, but he doesn't get a reference point because he validates in the most obnoxious place, it must be said, in the final corner. You don't really see many people validate in the final corner, so that is very bizarre indeed. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a reference point to his own lap time then, so Jensen won't get a lap time on the board. Plenty of people, of course, Laser being one of them, and now Langfeld puts himself into P2, but Laser sends the benchmark, and now Dinescas, who raced back at the Japanese Grand Prix, is up into P1 with a 20.7 there, so mega lap time. And DJ, yesterday's race winner, is up into P3 in the Mercedes, as Robin, the Dutchman, goes up into P2 in the Racing Bull. Is Nico Rassenberg here tonight? I don't think he is, as he finished in P2 at the Japanese Grand Prix, as Mika, Nordis' teammate, is up into P4. Another Dutchman, as Jalkin goes into P3. 2 seasons ago, Jargo won the Qatar Grand Prix, as Crossfire Strikes, who returns, is up into P2. So these lap times are coming in thick and fast. Nordis is about to cross the line as he pops that Williams up into P5 then. So a whole gaggle of cars making their way towards the end of their first lap, and so far it is Daniscus who leads them up towards the top end there of the pecking order. And unfortunately for Daniscus, who did not start at the Brazilian Grand Prix, but I think he finished inside the top 10 during the Japanese Grand Prix. It was a chaotic Japanese Grand Prix indeed, because we had mixture of weather as well, as Ramafaj goes up into P10 in the Racing Bull. And we'll see then how his pace transforms tonight as well. If he's still got the pace to do so, but we'll have a look. Daniscus, who's on pole, finished in P9 as Racing goes into P2 as he took pole back in the Brazilian Grand Prix. That's a 20.756 there, and that is a fabulous lap time indeed from the Finnish driver. He was still searching for his first podium this season. He has been very quick, but like Rising Star, he just tends to lose his touch a bit in the second half of the race. I did see Hazara's name somewhere. Is he here tonight, Hazara? No, but it is Volakongan who is back, and Beremi in the Red Bull is exiting turn 11 now to make his way towards this triple right hander we go. So Daniscus then is currently on pole with a 20.730, and so far 2.5 hundredths, I must say, separated him and Racing in P2. I don't think Rising Star is here tonight. No, he's not. So MDJ fills in for Rising Star. It's the first time Rising Star has missed a race this season, but hopefully he'll come back in the next couple of races. Here comes Remy towards the line. Remy goes into P11. We know Red Bull have been struggling in the last few races, both of them combined. They had a really disappointing Japanese qualifying and race as well when they finished outside the top 10. So both Red Bull drivers there looking for performance, looking to see where they can improve, of course, and hopefully they'll find their feet very soon as well, because it's unexpected as well for the Red Bull drivers, because they were so quick last season, including Harry Kane, where he took 11 wins last season and he was the man to beat. But unfortunately, he just seemed to fall down a little bit in terms of performance and pace this season as well. So what a transition and what a difference the season makes as well. As Kaname is a few hundreds up in the middle sector as he continues on his lap time then. This is the last week's race winner, by the way. Kaname got his first win of the season last week in Japan. He did have a 3-second time penalty, but he got that removed. And Kaname is doing multiple laps on this soft compound tyre as well. Kaname, who leads the championship as well after being so strong in the last few races. He crosses the line and he stays into P5, but he does improve on his previous best then. So more time to be found in hand there for Kaname. His confidence will be skyrocketed due to the win in Japan. It took a long time for Kaname to get his first win, plus his last win before Japan was Japan last season as well. So 2 consecutive Japanese Grand Prix he has under his name. That's his only wins in his career so far in SFR in Japan. He seems to adore that track. Both Haas's doing well, Wilner and Hussein. Wilner was at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I think he finished in P10 back in Brazil. He finished in P10 as well back in Japan as Hussein, who finished in P4. So Haas recently have been looking strong. They need 2 strong drivers for Haas in terms of the constructors, because they have been lacking the results so far. So Haas are up there so far. Here comes Jensen down towards turn 1 as he sets sails after another lap. So turn 1 missed the apex. He did have a good run in towards the first corner as he connected with the apex in towards turn 1 in his last lap really nicely. And turn 2 was quite nice. Turn 3 flat out, no problems through there at all as we head down towards turn 4 and turn 5. This time it's a downshift into 5th gear because he was in 6th on his previous run then, so he's changed his preference and his style going into towards the double right hander we go. A bit of a slide out of the first corner there, the 6th corner there, the heavy brake zone, as we head towards turn 7. By the way, for those people who are MotoGP fans, Qatar is this weekend in MotoGP, and I do believe, was it Jorge Martin or Pecco Bagnaia who won that Grand Prix? I'm not quite sure. But MotoGP arrives here. Of course, this track was built for MotoGP back in 2004. That's the first time they ran this race. Then, obviously, 17 years later, in 2021, then Qatar hosted the Formula 1 Grand Prix, and it shares with World Endurance Racing Cars, F1, the MotoGP, and the World Cup, I think, back in 2022. As Jensen now makes his way out of the final corner we go. The DRS will be enabled shortly, and let's see, can he improve? He can! He puts himself into P4 just behind Crossfire Strikes, and Crossfire Strikes, unfortunately, seems to have validated his lap time. A man who's picked up wins as well, and Daniscus, the man who's on pole, unfortunately has invalidated too then. So it looks like a lot of these people on their second runs are starting to make slight errors, as Robin is currently attempt in the first sector. The Dutchman on his way towards turn 7. Another man who seems to be struggling as well because he can't seem to find the pieces to put together and try and get the results he needs. Back in Brazil, he started on the soft compound tyres in Japan as well, when he was lower down there making contact. So I really hope for Robin it's been the same story with Robin and Nico so far because they've both got good pace. And Samid, a surpriser, goes up into P4. I know Laser talks about him a lot, but Laser might have his mouth shut now because Samid has put his Ferrari into P4. 2,000 separate. No, it's not. My bad. It is under 200, sorry, that separate crossfire strikes. And Samid, as Robin makes his way out of the final corner. Let's see where the Dutchman could go. Harry Kane goes up into P6. Here comes Robin towards the line. Robin goes up into P4, just ahead of Samid by 5,000ths of a second. That's how close it is between those guys. 5.3 kilometers, a tricky circuit. And yeah, these guys are in close proximity and range of each other as well. So good stuff indeed. Who are the biggest outliers so far? Volakongan is, but we know Volakongan doesn't really do qualifying, so let's discount him, although he is on the track. Here comes Lourdes out on that final corner as he makes his way towards the line. What's it going to be for him? It's P6 then, so a decent lap time, and he puts himself just behind Samid in the Ferrari then. So there's 6 minutes left to go in qualifying, and so far it is Dinescus who's still on pole, so nobody seems to be matching his pace, but Crossfire Strikes is making his way towards the line, and the McLaren driver puts his car on pole. It's a 20.575, and that raised the bar then as Wilner in the Haas goes up into P2 then. So Wilner, his 3rd Grand Prix this season, finds some pace, but he needs to get out of the way very quickly because there's an Alpine approaching the scene, and he does. That is Kaname, who is on his flying lap then, I presume. Harry Kane, a better qualifier for him in P9. I know he doesn't practice as much. I think most people on this game don't really practice as much as he does because we're coming towards the end of the game cycle, so therefore a lot of people are not really caring no more. It seems like it's a bit of old news. Kaname, however, is a 10th up. By the way, guys, if you do hear me struggle to speak, that's because I'm ill. I've got a blocked nose and a cough, so just bear with me for a second, or just bear with me through this race whilst I try and deliver my best commentary for you. So now Kaname heads towards the left-hander, connected with the apex very nicely, bringing it out wide. Chalerius can be a problem through there as well as we make our way now towards this triple right-hander we go. I love seeing these cars in action, but Kaname is 3/10 up in this middle sector, so he could put himself into P3. Look how close it is between those guys in the top 10 there, with Fireblaze putting his Ferrari into P9. The Aston Martin goes off the track as we've got Kaname coming towards the final corner. He goes. Let's see where the RP driver can put his car as the championship leader is out of the final corner. Here comes Kaname towards the line. It's going to be P2. Wow, and exactly a 100th of a second there separate Kaname and Wilner. That is so close between those two. Majority of drivers are heading back in the pit lane as Beremy then, the only driver out there so far on a flying lap, as he makes his way towards the line he goes. Let's see where the Norwegian can go. It's only P11, just behind Fireblaze. Fireblaze currently out qualifying both Red Bull drivers, and Laser as well. Disappointed from Laser in the last few races. Of course, he got caught up in the first lap incidents back at I think it was the Japanese Grand Prix and in Belgium as well. So it hasn't really been that great for Laser in the last few races. But we'll see if his luck changes. But so far, his qualifying needs to change as well, because back in Abu Dhabi, he lost a few places there. And Brazil, he also fell down the order too. So, and no, sorry, it was Brazil and Japan, I think. So 2 races in a row where he fell down the order. So I think Laser needs to find a bit of form. But a bit of a quiet one so far, as majority of drivers are in the pit lane then, just waiting for the final few laps here in qualifying as the time continues to tick down in the desert. The duel in the desert, and Crossfire Strikes currently occupies first place. Crossfire Strikes, imagine if he was a full-time driver as well, because that man's got some mighty pace. He's only appeared twice this season. That was back at the Austrian Grand Prix and in Abu Dhabi as well, as Crossfire Strikes was in contention for the lead back in Abu Dhabi, but I think there was contact with him and somebody else. Yes, he lost his front wing, didn't he, when that safety car came out with a bizarre crash on the back of Jensen, wasn't it, at the time? But season 16, the season before, he definitely showed what he was capable of, and we all know what Crossfire Strikes can do. Of course, in different leagues, he's performing well. He scored a win and 2 podiums last season. His last victory was at the Austrian Grand Prix, as Fireblaze chased him down on the few laps of that Grand Prix as well. But here comes Jensen, the man who's had 3 wins in a row until he spun in Belgium in the first corner in the last few laps. Here he is then, the Mercedes making his way out on the circuit, as it is quite quiet. But the problem is, though, if you go out too early during qualifying on your last runs, it means you encounter a bit of traffic. So hopefully for Jensen, no traffic is in his way. Maybe get a nice tow off the back of his Mercedes teammate when he makes his way to the pit lane. MDJ and Jensen are communicating with each other in a party. So let's see then if those two will work together. But Crossfire Strikes is the man to beat, and we'll see, can anybody beat him? This season for him hasn't gone well, but luck could change here at the Qatar Grand Prix. He is a reserve driver, so he won't care as much. But when you're first place, you definitely care. And that's when your motivation, that's when your competitiveness comes out as well. And your eagerness and your willingness as well. That's when the true... For example, when you're a reserve driver, you don't really care because you're just reserving. But when you find yourself towards the top end of the pecking order, then that's when you start to care. And that's when, oh, I could win this Grand Prix, or I could have a good result. But here comes Jensen then. You can see there's a whole flurry of cars out of the pit lane as Jensen sets sails on his lap time. His best lap time is a 20.955 as he makes his way down towards the first corner. We go. Can he connect with the apex? He can. Nice run through turn 1, leans on the curb on the outside as we open up the corner in towards turn 2, down to the fourth gear, back on the throttle immediately as he uses a bit of overtake at the exit of turn 2. We go. Now we're heading towards this double right-hander. Can catch a lot of people out as well. It's very easy to lose back in the car as well, but flat foot to the floor in turn 5 as we head down towards turn 6 immediately in the first sector. He is up by a tenth and a bit as well as he continues his way down towards turn 7. This can be another tricky corner as well because it's very easy to run out wide on the exit and get the validation as we make our way now towards this twisty bit of the middle sector, coming towards the left-hander as well, using all the road on the outside. He goes foot to the floor as we continue our way. There's a few cars. What's going on towards the top end? There's a few cars who are stationary before the final corner, but they get going. It's a McLaren and an Alpine. So wonder what's going on between those two. As here comes Jensen then. Jensen's coming through the traffic. These guys need to get out of the way, but the Ferrari is in the way. He might pick up a bit of dirt here, might pick up a slipstream. As we exit the final corner, here is Jensen then, gets the slipstream with the DRS open. What's it going to be for Jensen? As he crosses the line, he goes up into P3, but did that moment with the Ferrari affect him, or did it help him? I'm not quite sure. So, every single driver out on the circuit as well. Where are our main competitors? Kaname is going through turn 2 and turn 3. Look at this, Kaname and Fireblaze taking a toe off each other as well as Crossfire Strikes invalidates. That is his lap time and done and dusted, and qualifying is done. But as you can see, a lot of cars are together on the circuit giving each other a toe. There is a lot of cars who are so close to each other. Robin, unfortunately, invalidates on his lap time. MDJ is next to cross the line. There he is in the Mercedes. There's a Williams bar right behind him as MDJ exits the final corner. Where can he put that Mercedes? As he crosses the line right now, he goes up into P15, and Div 2 not bad for him. Nolan stays in P9, Samid stays in P8. There's a Williams right behind him. Mika, where can Mika go? Mika crosses the line, stays in P17. Unfortunately for him, where's Kaname? Kaname's flying to the middle sector, but a few hundreds down. As we've got the Alpine next across the line, and he stays where he is in P6. Not a lot of people improving on their last flying laps. Volokongan next across the line. That's the Aston Martin, sorry. Oh, where did he go? I'm not quite sure. As here comes Kaname towards the line, and let's see. Can he take pole as he crosses the line now? He can't. He stays at P3. His Warner is up into P5, but Jalkin's been disqualified. As Volokongan goes, look at that! Oh my goodness me! First and second, but momentarily Wilner's on pole. Unbelievable. Volokongan and Harry Kane set the exact same lap time in P2 and P3. And Wilner, on his third attempt, takes pole away. What a fantastic lap time from the Brazilian driver. He'll be absolutely thrilled with that. Wow, what a change, what a mix in the field. And that was a qualifying to remember as well, with a lot of people surprised at the end. Look at the gaps from P1 to P4, under a tenth, as Wilner in the Haas then takes pole, as he's showing us what he could do. As Volokongan's and P2 ahead of Harry Kane, these two set the exact same lap time. Crossfire Strikes a few hundreds back from these two. Deniskas, great qualifying from him. Kaname in P6, Jensen, Fireblaze, Racing, Beremy in P10 as well. Great job for Beremy. Robin, Samid, Noldus, Laser, Hussein, disappointed for him, MDJ, Mika, Langfar, Ramavaj, and Dragon, who got disqualified. But I'll be back with you shortly. I need to go to the toilet, be right back. But what a qualifying that was. So we are in for a decent race around here in Qatar. Let's see what happens. There is a 29-lap race around here. We don't really see many safety cars because the runoff areas are very big indeed. So I don't expect nobody to crash into the wall, but you never know if anything could happen. Going to see a lot of DRS trains, of course, a big DRS train, but the one good thing about this is that people are forced to overtake each other as well, because you'll see a lot of people from first to third or third to first, because the straight is about 1 kilometer long, like Las Vegas, as obviously like Las Vegas Strip, which is 1.9 kilometers, 1.4 miles, as we see what tires people have gone for. So majority of drivers then are on the hard compound tires, but follow Congan, a very optimistic strategy on the soft compound tires, as we got a few on the meds. So I cannot wait to see what happens during this race as well. Follow Congan has gone very optimistic on them soft compound tires, making the soft degrade very quickly around here. But saying that though, yesterday's race, we saw that Roda did about 10 laps on the soft compound tires, and he still held on to the guys ahead. So let's see then if Follow Congan makes his strategy work. If he does, I'll be bewildered by it. I'm not sure if he can or not, but this is going to be a good race, hopefully, and we'll see what happens. But Follow Congan, crucially, if he gets stuck in this DRS train, it might be a bit difficult for him. He's not able to pull away on those soft compound tyres, and therefore being a cork in a bottle later on in the Grand Prix too. And Hurricane's back towards third place. Hurricane as well, he has won around here in Qatar before. He hunted down Dragon season 15, and Ramavaj actually scored a podium here too, back at the Qatar Grand Prix 2 seasons ago, but unfortunately he's done a P19 right now, which could be a bit difficult, but we'll see. An RB or AlphaTauri has won this Grand Prix before in SFR in the names of OWL Dragon. So Dragon and Ramavaj, who were first and second Season 15 are down in 19th and 20th. So what a difference makes. But we know those two have been struggling just a bit. Dragon, of course, has been good finishing in P5 in the last few races. Well, I must say Singapore as well. Singapore and in Monza. Of course, people who are MotoGP fans, MotoGP will be back this weekend. Jorge Martin is back as well after missing 2 races due to a broken collarbone. And Alex Marquez leads the championship ahead of Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia. So we'll see what happens in Qatar this weekend in the MotoGP. Of course, I talked about the straight line speed being so quick as well. Speed's about 360 kilometers an hour. Not even joking about that one on MotoGP either, because they have no aerodynamics like F1 do. Here we go then, we are set sail for the race here in Qatar, in Doha, just outside the capital city. And we are underway for the Qatar Grand Prix. As expected, Volokonga gets a lightning start as he pulls ahead of Milner as he takes away first place. As we head down towards turn 1 we go. Harry Kane defending for Crossfire Strikes, who goes wide in towards turn 1. Crossfire Strikes is still there. On the outside, there's a Williams in the background going to the bollard. But as you can see now, Kaname going side by side with... Oh, there's a Sauber who's in the wall. It's Donetskas. Donetskas is in the wall, unfortunately, after a great qualifying inside the top 5. He's gone from P5 down to 20th place. What a dismal start from the Kick Sauber driver as he's looking to make headway on the guys ahead as well, looking for a decent result as he did back in Brazil, but unfortunately has been shuffled down into last place. And I think he has got damage because he hit the wall quite hard on the impact towards turn 1. But so far it is Volokonga who leads this Grand Prix, and he's on soft compound tyres as well. As Hussein is still going wheel to wheel with racing as well. Can we see it? I'm not quite sure, but the cameraman will be on board with. But Laser has made up a huge amount of places. 5 places he's made as well. So great start from Laser in P9. He needs to make some inroads on the championship as well. By the way, guys, if you're wondering my voice is weird tonight, it is because I got a sore throat and a cough. So I am literally on the verge of coughing every time I speak. So just bear with me, or bear Remy with me, and I'll hopefully do all right towards the end of this Grand Prix. Try and survive. But these guys are surviving, trying not to get a second time penalty, which is very, very easy to do around this track as well, as the track is so wide and so narrow as well. That doesn't make sense. But as we head down towards turn 1, Laser now takes away 8th place. Of course, he's on the medium compound tyres, so he should be quicker in theory on the guys on the hard compound tyres at this stage. So he needs to make headway, try and make as many places as he can using the medium compound tyres whilst in good shape. But so far, Volokonga pulls away. The gap is almost 2 seconds then, as Volokonga's gone for a very optimistic strategy. I dare say about lap 7 or 8 when those soft compound tyres start to fade away, maybe less than that. But we know the wear is quite high around here as well, as Noldus overtakes Racy. Racy's dropping backwards quite a lot as well, so he seems to be struggling, as MDJ's on the left, the Williams on the outside of Mika, but Mika loses the car. MDJ swoops around the outside as he's up into P14. Here comes Mika now up the inside as he tries to take away 15th place, but MDJ slows down, surprisingly. Why was he slowing down? And now he's been demoted into P17. So Mika now up to 14th place, as MDJ has fallen backwards as well. Good stuff indeed then. So it is lap 2 out of 29. DRS should be enabled. It is Volokonga who is your race leader. Though Mona is in P2, the gap is 2.5 seconds. So Volokonga continues to build that gap up whilst on the soft compound tyres. In the background, Crossfire Strikes overtakes Harry Kane as he puts himself into P3. Harry Kane having a fantastic qualifying. I think he used Volokonga, didn't he, as a slipstream provider, and that's why he got himself into P3, and he set the exact same lap time. A few more people in the background just jockeying for position there, as we see the Alpine driver once again getting out of shape, struggling to find traction out of turn 1 and turn 2. That is Mika putting racing under pressure. But a lot of things can happen in this race as well, because we've seen it everywhere. Like the Qatar Grand Prix with the DRS on the main straight. Only one DRS zone around here, of course, just like in Japan as well, and in Monaco. But here we are then through this twisty part of the racetrack. It can be quite difficult to follow in real life, but dirty air doesn't seem to be that sufficient as it should be on this game. So you can follow through the dirty air, of course. It won't affect the tyres that much, but it will affect the engine as well, because the engine can get quite hot. As Kaname there was all over the back of Harry Kane, but just dropped backwards a bit after he made a slight mistake on entry towards that triple right-hander. So just slot backwards there, but the DRS keeping all these guys in play. Volokongan, however, the gap has got to 3.5 seconds then, so none of these guys can seem to match the pace of Volokongan just yet in this phase of the Grand Prix, but they will do soon once the hardcore power tyres are better. But here comes Harry Kane now, up the inside, in towards turn 1. It's a late move. Can Wilner defend that? I don't think he can, unless Kaname can do anything about it. Around the outside he goes towards turn 2, but can't quite seem to make it stick, and he stays behind for the time being. I do like this track layout as well, because it's so good for racing. Maybe not in F1, but you see sometimes in league racing that you could chop and change lines there every single time. The inside, the outside line, it's always mega to see these cars go through, and we always see a lot of fights as well in this race, on this racetrack. Laser seems stationary in P8, so he's not able to dispatch Fireblaze, so he made up a whole bunch of places, but seems to be settled into P8 now on the mini compound tyres. So let's see, can he move forward? Does he have the battery to do so? But the guys ahead will have the DRS there to protect themselves against the guys behind. It's all these guys are just stuck in one big DRS train, as we see the Haas Wilner just a bit out of shape there, had to bail out the throttle a bit so he didn't go off the racetrack. As we continue swooping through down towards turn number 16 we go. The left-hander, where most people in the past have been called out due to track limits, but due to the modifications of this racetrack, I think that track has corner on the outside has been extended slightly. Here comes Kaname now on the back of Wilner. Wilner's defended, but here comes Kaname up the inside in towards turn 1. Sorry, my voice is going, as Kaname puts himself into P4 now. Nice move there. He forced the pressure on the Haas driver. He didn't want to stick around too long, and now he puts himself into P4. He's always got some good pace on his hands as the RP driver, but the Haas finds himself under pressure from Jensen right behind. Jensen looking very racy too. You can see the Haas derated. He is clipping. He wants to save battery in this little sector, and I thought for 1 second that the Haas would go down the inside on Kaname, but Jensen has a massive moment coming out of turn 6, just wheel spinning on the extra there as he tried to get the power down as quickly as he could. As we continue now towards turn number 15 we go, as all these guys follow each other. I wonder if the soft compound tyres, the peak performance of those softs, are now starting to fade away, because the gap has been brought down a little bit, but not too much. Volokongan, however, is doing a mega job out there so far. Is it soft or hard? I dare say there's no way it's soft or medium, but I dare say the tyre strategy is soft or hard. Esports driver, of course, so he's got all the setups, he's got the knowledge of it as well. Volokongan is a very quick driver as well. It's a shame that we don't get to see him and Hazara go at it, as the gap's been brought down to 3 seconds. So I think these guys behind now might want to think about just trading DRS and get past each other with the helping hand of DRS, as Harry Kane actually slams it shut, so he's not going to go for the move just yet as we swoop down towards turn 1. I thought these guys would trade DRS, slingshot each other past like they did back in the Austrian Grand Prix when it's Burmeister, and somebody has dropped on the order. It's the RP driver, I think it is. The Alpine has gone for a little bit of a spin there, unfortunately, as Romovac is right behind. He's struggling in that RB. He is fairly new to this game as well, so he hasn't got the pace just yet to try and match these guys. Down the inside goes Jensen on Wilner. They're going wheel to wheel out of turn 6, but once again Jensen has a massive snap out of turn 6 there. The car complaining on the throttle and giving it a whole boost, unfortunately, just as it seems to go well. So Jensen then will try again in the next few laps as he's stuck behind the Haas once again. As the gap now has been brought down to 2.8, you can definitely tell that the crossfire strikes, Volokongan's tyres are starting to slowly fade away now. The peak performance, the juice on them softs are going, but still doing a good job managing the pace. I wonder how difficult it will be when his softs do die away. What lap will he pit? And now, there's the question answered. He has pitted. Lap 6 out of 29, and he's going to go the hard compound tyres there. So only 5 laps completed on the soft compound tyres there. So the rest go through. Here comes Harry Kane now on the McLaren driver. Here comes Kaname on the McLaren. Will he make it a double overtake? He won't. He just slots in for the time being, but it's so close between these guys as we head out of turn 1, going through turn 2. Kaname has the outside line. Does he have the speed? Is there enough room around the outside? Oh, there's just about enough room, but no space there as crossfire strikes just defend for the time being. I love all these guys being stuck in a big DRS train because it really shows you the mental strength as well. The strategy these guys have to do at high speed. You can be very smart while racing at high speed as well, knowing when to plan your attacks. It's all about going fast. It's all about when you plan your attacks and how you do it as well. Because first place, as we know around here, is not always the best place to be, especially with that DRS train right behind you as well. So you can be very methodical, very plan. You've got to plan it as well, and you've got to be in it for the long game. Because a lot of people don't really use their heads. Because people like me think a short term, you just want to get past the guys ahead, but at the same time, you need the long term in your head as well. You need that race etiquette as well. Continues swooping down towards turn 16. Then we've got Crossfire Strikes, who is putting pressure on Hurricane. Sorry about that. That's not the team radio. That's my phone. So there's no team radio there, but my phone. Yeah, here comes Crossfire Strikes, and here comes Kaname. Hurricane's been swamped. It could be three of them who go past, and it is Warner now. It's side by side. Oh, Hurricane a bit late. He almost spins him. That was so close to contact. Off the track goes the Haas there. Crossfire Strikes takes the lead, but Kaname back down the inside as Hurricane was so late to the brakes there. He almost took out Kaname, and now Jensen is side by side with the Red Bull driver headed down towards this double. How did we go? But Hurricane has the racing line and goes through. But where's the Haas? Wilner is down into P6, 3-1, would never go. And Kaname was so fortunate not to spin there, because if he did, that'll be a big dent in his championship aspirations when he's leading the championship only by a few points as well. That was so crucial not to spin. And Fireblaze is making his way up the order too. Started on 8th, up into 5th, and he's also involved in the championship as well. But the championship standards haven't really been updated due to the late stewarding, because we had a bit of stewarding implemented as well before the lobby started. We know Kaname won the Japanese Grand Prix, but it wasn't confirmed just yet until now. Kaname is officially the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix. Congratulations towards him. You don't really care now because he's involved in this battle, but Crossfire Strikes is almost at a DRS range then. That moment, in that slip up in towards the turn 1 corner, has cost him dearly, but still has the DRS. That's very important for Kaname to have the DRS, the back of Crossfire Strikes, to keep himself within the fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. Laser is up into P6 now, as the Haas has been demoted. I don't think the Haas of Warner has any damage, so luckily he still continues, and hopefully hasn't lost any pace, because he's been looking very strong. Wow, so Kongan is doing soft to medium. There's no way this is a 2-stop strategy. So that's about 22 laps on the medium compound tires. Doable, but you know what? He's an esports driver, and sometimes the things they do surprise me a lot, because as I hate to say it, but as ordinary drivers, it seems impossible doing 22 laps on the medium compound tires. But of course, esports drivers, there's something different. As Mika up the inside, he does have a 3-second type penalty to his name as well, as he almost makes contact with Racing, who dropped down the order quite a long time ago during this Grand Prix. There is no way Kongan is going to do that strategy, as Mika almost lost it, but Robin behind us picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, and now he's about to go wheel to wheel. Not in a corner like this. One of you's about to hit each other or go off the track, but there's no way. Oh yes, but I say one of you had to yield, and it was Robin indeed who did yield. Samid picks himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. Where is he? Down at P11. He started P12, and now he's got himself a 3-second time penalty. Hussein puts himself into P8 ahead of Remy. Remy is also there too, doing a really good job. Both Red Bulls have been struggling in the past, but so far they're both doing a relatively good job on Red Bull. After the dominance of last year for Red Bull, after this year they seem to be dropping off the pace, just like in real life actually. In reality, where Red Bull was so dominant in 2023 and the beginning of 2024, they seem to just drop away due to the car not performing at its level as it should have been. But now, every now and then, Hurricane and Beremy have their good results, the highs and lows. But Ramavaj gets himself a 3-second time penalty. So how is this strategy going to work for Kongan? It's not a tongue twister, it's an easy name to say, but of course, I am ill. Kongan, I've commentated on him in another league I think it was Qatar. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy there was for him. But that is a very optimistic strategy, soft medium, Obviously no tyre saving, because you don't want to do tyre saving around here. But we'll see how he does then. If he makes those mediums go towards the end, plus have the life to try and defend from these guys, who'll be on much fresher, better tyres, mediums or hards. But majority of people will go to medium compound tyres because majority of them are on the hards right now. In this opening segment of this Grand Prix, lap 11, as we see Crossfire Strikes and still leads this Grand Prix. In the background, that's the Haas of Wilner retaking P6 away from Laser. They're being slowly detached from this train, but still on the back of it, which is very important indeed, as Ramavach has pitted and retired from this race then, unfortunately, so he has had enough. I would love to speak to him in... Oh, he's gone now, but I would have loved to speak to him in the party to see how he has been doing. A long-time member of SFR, a multiple race winner, a great driver indeed, and he has returned for the first time since season 15. As we make our way now towards this right-hander we go. It is Crossfire Strikes who still leads this Grand Prix. None of these guys are thinking about a pit stop just yet. It's a bit too early, of course, but as we say too early, we did see Volakonga pit early and go on the mini compound tyres. He must be absolutely crazy. There's no way he's going to do a two-stop, because that'd be the slowest thing to do. It is, the pit lane loss is massive around here, so a two-stop is out of the equation. But doing soft and medium is just alien for me. I have no idea if he's going to make it work. Was it a mistake? Was it just plainly a mistake? Was he supposed to go hard compound tyres, but the game put some mediums? I'm not sure, but we'll find out sooner or later. Definitely towards the end of the Grand Prix. Here he is in P16. Was leading the Grand Prix, but here we go then on the main straight, the 1 kilometre straight we go, and let's see if any moves are being made here. Jensen applying the battery, Hurricane, and look at that, it's a late move from Kaname as Hurricane is going side by side in towards turn 1, but Kaname just a bit later on the brakes there as Robin gets a 10-second time penalty and retires in the pit lane, so his race unfortunately has gone, well, bad in the first few laps of the Grand Prix. Hussein is out of the DRS range, but he did overtake Laser. Laser seems to be losing ground now on these mini compound tyres, so it looks like he's struggling a bit. Look at the understeer. He's encountered, and behind him, Bear Remy gets a 3-second penalty. You can see the tyres might be overheating just a bit there. The internal wear on the medium you can see just overheating just a little bit, and therefore caused him to understeer into some corners. And that won't be good for him either, because the more you understeer, the more heat you generate into your tyres. The excess temperature you don't need in your tyres as well, so that won't be doing any favours whatsoever. Of course, when these mini compound tyres get older, they start to slide around a lot, they start to lose grip as well, so tyres, not really a good tyre to be on when they get older and older, but the hard compound tyres are so durable as well. Apologies if you're hearing me struggling to speak, I'm defending an illness, as a Williams is off the track. That's Mika, as he just retired in the pit lane. But here we go, Laser is in the pit lane, but as we head on the main straight, Laser and Fireball... Oh, sorry about that. The top 6 or 7 are in a big battle indeed for the lead of the Grand Prix. Remy is a second behind, but of course Laser dived off into the pit lane, so that splits him up in terms of DRS. Laser is on the hard compound tyres to take towards the end of the Grand Prix, so both Aston Martins fall backwards as Volakonga then pits. PVG unfortunately is not here tonight, as he usually is the one in the Aston Martin, but up the inside is a Haas, and that's Rona as Jensen wobbles out of turn 6, but Fireblaze defends from the time being. Sammy gets another penalty, but you've got to have your wits about you as well, because you've seen some unexpected moves in towards turn 6. I've raced around Qatar, I do like it, but at the same time, when you're following in a DRS train, sometimes it's so easy to get caught out of surprise, because the guy behind you might send one to the inside in towards turn 6, because that is another opportunity to overtake. You've got to make sure that if the doors are open and have your wits about you and not get surprised or whatsoever, because the guy behind will be just tired of being stuck behind you, and therefore will try and make any move as they can. If the door is open, they're going to go through, so just be wary of that fact indeed. As now we head on the main straight with the DRS wide open. There's been no changes yet, but I dare say there'll be now. It's been a stale race so far, but we know it's a long, high-speed game of chess. The pieces on the board not moved just yet, as Kaname is up into first place as he almost oversteered, as he kicks out, but Dineska is off the track, and that's turn 6 he spins. Is it? Is that turn 6? Turn 5, out of turn 5 there, so I think he just lost the car and he went to the gravel. MDJ gets a 3-second penalty. He had 2 warnings yesterday, but here he picks up a penalty. Oh, look at crossfire strikes. He makes contact at the back of Kinane, goes deep, and defends from Hurricane. Then that could have been very nasty indeed. He almost lost his front wing there as he outbroke himself going down towards turn 6, but scoops up the car, recollects it, and stays in P2 as once again a kick Sauber, who seems to be having a bit of trouble staying on the track. And I really hope he doesn't cause safety car. And look at the oversteer Kinane had out of turn 11 there. A handful of opposite lock in towards turn 11, but he's still 2 tenths up in the middle sector, just on his personal best. But Kinane might get the DRS on the back of the Sauber. Let's have a look if he does get that luxury or not. I don't think he will. He won't. So Kinane won't get the DRS on the back of the kick Sauber as Mika has left the session then on his debut here in SFR. As we round off the final corner, Kinane is still under pressure from crossfire strikes right behind. Hurricanes right behind as battle too. As we head on the main straight we go. No moves being made yet, but in the background here comes Wilner. Back up the inside in towards turn 1. Used a lot of battery, but Fireblades is sticking around the outside, but has to concede defeat for the time being then. Volokong is a P14, yeah? He is about 14.5 seconds off, so how is this strategy going to play out for Volokongen? Whilst these guys pit on to a brand new set of mediums, will become the hunter towards the end. So watch out for Volokongen as he'll take the lead of the Grand Prix once these guys pit. But how on earth do you do a soft to medium strategy here around in Qatar? It's just unbelievable. Seems unreal. As Deniskas, he might as well retire in the pit lane because that's not what we want to see. We don't want to see drivers who might influence a safety car as these guys are going wheel to wheel. This is Racing, Samid and MDJ. There's a bit of contact between these three as MDJ tries to finish off the move against Racing, but there's still wheel to wheel. Racing trying to get back at him with the battery. He does. He puts himself into P10 ahead of the Mercedes driver, but I really hope there's no safety car because we don't want to see a safety car in this Grand Prix. Yes, it'd be nice to butcher up the whole field, but at the same time, we don't want people's races being ruined. He might as well come back in the pit lane and retire and make sure he doesn't get himself into any trouble or any controversy after the Grand Prix. But as you can see, Crossfire Strikes is being very smart. Oh, not too smart though, because he hit the back of Kaname as we head down towards turn 1. As here comes Mercedes. These guys get so desperate because they want to be in the places to fight. They're stuck in P3 and P4. They want to be up there in first and second. Here comes Jensen, as he was very optimistic against Hurricane, but doesn't seem to go for it just yet. As we make our way towards this double hand, we go. Will Jensen go to the inside? Bearing in mind though, he has struggled in towards turn 6 on the exits. He seems to have massive wheel spin, and once again the kick saber Deniskas seems to be struggling. I'm just a bit nervous because this race is going well so far. I'm intrigued to see how it goes with terms of strategies and in terms of who is where towards the last stages of this Grand Prix. But as you can see, Jensen wants to move forward now because he knows that being in P4 will not do him any good later on in the Grand Prix. Won't give him a chance of being in contention for the win. Yes, for the podium, but he wants to win. We all do, as the kick saber spins again. I really hope he comes to the pit lane and retire. There is no point being out there anymore. He needs to retire in the pit lane and call it a day. He doesn't, but I hope, yes, thank God for that. So he has done it. As in the pit lane comes Kaname. Then Kaname is in the pit lane. He's one of the first drivers on the hardcore power tires to do so. No safety car deployed on this occasion because he retired in the pit lane then, as all the drivers then made their way through in towards turn 1. In the background, Warner was looking for a move, but Volokongen should get a massive overcut on Kaname, as Kaname is trundling in the pit lane. Look at the gap as well between Volokongen and Kaname. That's a big gap. You can definitely tell the power of the undercut, but with 12 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, will Volokongen be under massive pressure towards the end because Kaname will have a huge tyre offset in terms of Volokongen. So I wonder if Volokongen might feel the pressure towards in the Grand Prix against the guys who are going to pit from hards to mediums. We'll find out very shortly. He's right behind these two, MDJ and Samir, so he needs to dispatch these two as quickly as he can to make sure he doesn't lose any time towards Kaname or the guys in front. So let's see how easy or difficult it will be. Of course, on a brand new set of mini compound tyres. I say brand new, he's on 10 lap old mini compound tyres. Pitted lap 5 in this Grand Prix, did Volokongen. I'm very surprised about his strategy in this Grand Prix, as Daneskas unfortunately leave the session, but Kaname has taken a few tenths out of his advantage. So the rest of the guys, they've responded to the undercut threats from Kaname, as we see more people dive off into the pit lane, as Jensen, Hurricane and Fireblaze go through. Both Hasses, interesting, well, say both Hasses, one Hass has stayed out there of course. I thought both of them went through, which is quite strange because one of them ideally needs to go for the undercut. But here we go then, let's see where the RP driver is. Will he rejoin ahead of this pack? Let's have a look right now. He does. Kaname puts himself into P8 ahead of Crossfire Stripes and Wilner. The undercut can be quite powerful around here indeed, as we've seen it before in the past. Very unfortunate for him, he joins the P11. The undercut for him did not work. He pitted 2 laps earlier in comparison to these guys, and the undercut for him hasn't worked so far. Laser's there on P12. He's on a set of hard compound tyres, so his strategy from mediums to hards hasn't worked out so far during the course of this Grand Prix. On the next laps, though, expect the top 4 to come into the pit lane, and once the top 4 make their way into the pit lane, the pecking order should be back where it was towards his first stint, and we'll see how things plan out. So Volokongan, in the meantime, did manage to get ahead of these two, Samid and MDJ, who are still scrapping away for P6 and P7, so that's very crucial for him to get past these two, but the rest of them are pitted then, so the top 4, the leaders, are heading their way into the pit lane to go on to the mini compound tyres for the last 10 laps of this Grand Prix. Don't go nowhere. It's going to be a mega race towards the end. The problem is though, these guys will be trading DRS, but at the same time they need to catch up to Volokongan. I do think it's possible. They're on much younger tyres in comparison to Volokongan. Surely Volokongan tyres will start to cry towards the end, surely. As where is Volokongan right now? He has rejoined. Where is he? Oh, he's pitted. Volokongan is in the pit lane, and that's a 2-stop strategy. Well, that's very interesting. So was it a mistake? Was that a mistake for going from soft medium? Should he have gone soft hard, or was he supposed to, but the game didn't change it? What is going on for Volokongan? I'm not quite sure. So for now, he's out of the equation. So it's down towards Kaname, Crossfire Strikes Warner. There's a massive gap as well behind, as Warner is out of the DRS range. So it's Crossfire Strikes versus Kaname for the time being. They've broken the DRS towards Warner, and that's going to be very interesting because Hurricane's in P8 on a brand new set of mini compound tyres. Hurricane has rejoined behind Laser, his old rival from last season, and Beremi. So, we can see the difference in speed there between Hurricane and Laser. He needs to get past the Aston Martin as quickly as he can to dispatch him and catch after the likes of Crossfire Strikes and Kaname, who he was fighting earlier in this Grand Prix. The top 2 of MDJ and Simon haven't pitted just yet, but we'll see them dive off into the pit lane very shortly in this race, and Crossfire Strikes is putting mega pressure as MDJ gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As you can see, Kaname knows that he'll be defeated with the DRS wide open for Crossfire Strikes as he puts himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix. But behind us, here comes Hurricane. Surely this is a team swap because Hurricane has been the faster driver for the whole race and on pressure tyres. So I dare say a driver swap will be coming. Multi-21, get out of the way, baby. Let Hurricane go, and he does. Where's Nordus in all of this? Nordus has had a quiet race in P10. Not a lot going on for him right now in 10th place. He lost the DRS in the first stint because it broke up. As there is Mercedes in the background. That is the Jensen up the inside in towards turn 6. Nice move there from the Mercedes driver who's been trying to plan that move for quite a long time. And now he has finally done it. Puts himself into P6. Chasing after Beremi and Hurricane. Hurricane is right at the back of the Haas driver. He's on the pressure tyres out of this group, so he's capitalising and trying to get up there as much as he can. A potential podium could be coming towards Hurricane's way, maybe a race win. Depends if he has the pace to catch up towards first and second. With the newer tyres, you should say that he does have the pace to catch up, but will he? Because the top 2 could use each other for DRS to keep the guys behind out of it, as Beremi continues to slip backwards. And Jensen will be all over the back of his tail very shortly. As we exit the final corner, Hurricane has the DRS, the Haas wiggling left and right. Was that a message or was he struggling? I'm not quite sure. But Hurricane now goes through, puts himself into P3. In the background, that is Jensen and Fireblaze puts himself into P7 as Birami puts himself or gets demoted into P6. Volokongan has set the fast lap of the Grand Prix as he's down to P11. What a shame for Volokongan, but I'm not quite sure. Do you know what? I'm not quite sure if he meant to go on the soft power tyres towards the start of the Grand Prix. I think he had to. Maybe the game didn't change it. Maybe there's a glitch. I'm not quite sure, but hopefully we can hear from Volokongan after the Grand Prix. I don't think he'll finish on the podium, but maybe in the Discord server we can talk to him and see what happened, whether he was meant to start on the softs or not. Maybe it was one big mistake. As Fireblaze right behind Remy, he wants to get past him quickly too, so he can stay in the battle between Jensen and Wilner and Hurricane. So Hurricane then is 2 seconds behind. Does he have the outright pace? He's looking very strong so far in this Grand Prix is Hurricane. He's looking to go for his second win of the season. Crossfire Strikes looking to go for his first win, and Kaname is looking to go for his second win of the season too. So they've all got a lot to prove tonight's race, but we'll see how it all unfolds in the latter stages. It's shaped up to be a good one, but with Kaname having the DRS at the back of Crossfire Strike, you can see that these two are swapping. This is very good tactical work from these two. They know that swapping DRS is a good thing to do because it allows them to pull away from the guys behind, and maybe Wilner and Hurricane might want to think about swapping DRS too. So these two are suspending their fights for the time being and not fighting too hard just yet until lap 27.89 is when they're going to have a fight, because there's no point fighting now, because if you fight now then you're bringing the rest of the pack behind on the back of your DRS, and therefore you have a lot more trouble than that. As Fireblaze does get past Remy, where's that, before turn 5 and turn 6? Good move indeed, as Remy's up the inside, but not enough room there, as Fireblaze then puts himself to P6. The problem is though, he has lost the DRS towards Jensen and Hurricane, so being stuck behind the Red Bull has cost him dearly, and now Hussein is the next driver to going after Remy. Of course, Remy pitted quite later. Sorry, somebody just messaged me in another Discord server. I thought it was SFR, but never mind, it's a different league, so I'll just ignore that for the time being. Continue with this race. So it looks like Wilner is not really catching up towards the top two. The gap's been around 3 seconds for the past few laps, so these two are really good at controlling and stabilising the gaps. And ever since these two have been alone, they've been swapping DRS just like this, as Hurricane in the background also doing the same thing as he puts himself into P3. They're just trying to trade DRS as much as they can to try and catch each other, or stay ahead and get out of the DRS range of the other guy behind as well. Fireblaze is fighting with Remy, and Hussein is up into P6. That must have been a double overtake from Hussein from P8 to P6 in turn 1. Fireblaze must be so frustrated. He was running inside the top 5 in terms of this DRS battle, but after the pit stops, got caught out by Remy, and it has gone his way since. So the second stint of this Grand Prix just hasn't seemed to go Fireblaze's way for the time being. The man that has one win in SFR, that was back in Mexico when I was racing as well. Oh, the gap has gone down to 1.6 seconds then, so 4/10 has been taken out of the advantage of Kaname and Crossfire Strikes. Can they keep Hurricane out of DRS range? Can Crossfire Strikes get his first win since last season in USA? We're about to find out, but can Hurricane, the dark horse, the Red Bull driver, catch after the top two with better tyres? But the advantage that these two had, they could change and swap DRS every single lap until the last few laps of the Grand Prix. They're pulling to the right side. This is a very, very smart play from these two. A high Q racing indeed from all these guys. As Fireblaze puts himself back into P6, he's outside the DRS range, so I think the chances of being on the podium are getting slimmer and slimmer. It is so frustrating when you break the DRS. So frustrating because you lose the guys ahead. The guys ahead will pull away. And it's just a sinking feeling, really, knowing you have the pace, but when you're broken the DRS, it's just so difficult to get yourself back in there. As we see the guys then so close. This trio still fighting for P3, I dare say, but Hurricane's made a mistake, and Jensen backs out of it, not going to go for the move just yet, so a slight mistake from Hurricane. Sorry about that, I was about to say something else then, but Jensen almost did get past. Hussein gets a 3-second time. I couldn't think of the word I wanted to say. Tempting, there we go. attempting was the word to get past, but didn't go for the move just yet. As Crossfire Strikes right to the back of Kaname. The gap is 1.5 seconds between Wilner and Crossfire Strikes then. The pressure, the climax of this race is building up as well, so don't go anywhere. The last 5 laps could be very intense indeed. Depends if third place can reattach themselves in this fight. But here is Crossfire Strikes with the DRS once again, and he puts himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix, doing the same tactics as well, just these two being very clever in terms of trading DRS, as Jensen now puts himself as a P4 ahead of Wilner. The problem is for Harry Kane though, because those two ahead of us are trading DRS, Harry Kane uses a lot of battery, and therefore when he does catch up, he won't have the batteries trying to overtake these two, but he's almost there. He is so close as well to getting the DRS on the back of Kaname Crossfire Strikes. If he does get the DRS in this lap, that'll help him defend from Jensen and Wilner because he's lacking battery. So, massive oversteer at turn 6. He's pushing very hard in the Red Bull, using the pace of those medium compound tyres to try and catch up, try and get the gap down under a second if he can. But the gap's hovering around 1.2, 1.3. Can he use this middle part of the lap to get himself under a second? Is there any chance for Harry Kane? He'll have a bit more grip than these two ahead of us in the slow speed corners, but we'll see if he can reduce that gap down, as Jensen's right behind him too. He's lacking the ERS, is Harry Kane, but I dare say one more lap, then Harry Kane could be in DRS, or Jensen, depends who's third when they catch up towards that DRS, or if they catch up. That's the question of if as well. Here we go towards the final corner on lap 25, heading towards lap 26 then. We see Jensen with the DRS wide open and the battery too as he swoops past the Red Bull driver. He's on the same age of tyres as well as Harry Kane. Let's see if Jensen now has the pace to catch after the top two. Let's see, the gap is 1.1 there, so he's so close to get into that DRS range. The DRS is almost being brought back into play. I remember a race I had in Abu Dhabi where I was in the top 3. Me and 2 other people were on older tyres, and the guys behind were slowly but surely catching us. They caught up to us on lap 28. That was back in Abu Dhabi. The top 3, I was in third at the time, so I let the top 2 trade DRS whilst I was just sitting there, hanging in the back of those 2, because I knew the guys behind were catching. So if we fought, the top 3, if we fought, that would mean the guys behind will catch up very quickly, and they have. So Jensen's caught up. They've brought that gap down to under a second then. The fight is back on for the lead of the Grand Prix, and there is 3 laps left to go. I cannot wait to see the ending of this Grand Prix. The top 5 have been brought back together, and we'll see then what will happen. Jensen has the most wins out of anybody this season in the top 5. Let's see then, can Jensen get his first win since the Austrian Grand Prix, which was quite a long time ago, towards the beginning of the season, round 4. So about 8 rounds ago was the Austrian Grand Prix. His last podium was at the Brazilian Grand Prix in P3. But here we go then on the main straight as Crossfire Strikes does overtake a name. But the last 2 laps of this Grand Prix is what we want to see. How will it all change? What will the pecking order be like? Who will be in the best place at the right time? Who will be in the wrong place at the wrong time? Because first is not the best place to be. I don't want to be first place on the last lap. You're like a guinea pig. It's just a sinking feeling, like a cork in a bottle. You just seemed the inevitable happen in the last 2 laps of the Grand Prix. So we'll see then who has got the strategy right. Is it Kaname in P2? As Harry Kane there in P4, still looking for that podium as well after a great stint on the hard compound tyres in the first go. Volokongan, however, we haven't really seen much progress from him since he pitted. He's up into P11 then, so haven't really seen much of the Aston Martin driver. So I dare say it was a mistake. He knows the strategy. He's an esports driver, especially like Qatar. You know you don't want to stop the soft compound tyres in Qatar. So I dare say that was just a mistake there for Volokongan to go on the soft compound tyres at the start of this Grand Prix, which has cost him dearly as well. You have good pace, but unfortunately that mistake has cost him, and it seems like he's outside the top 10. He is catching orders though, a little bit, as we make our way out of the final corner. Jensen's right behind Kaname then. Massive oversteer out on the final corner as we ride on board with the Mercedes driver. Kaname used their battery in defence mode to catch after Crossfire Strikes. It is the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix as we now go down towards turn 1. Kaname almost takes the lead, but then side by side in towards turn 1 they go. The Red Bull has spun on the final lap, on the final corner, sorry. as we head down towards turn 2. Look at Caname struggling with the rear end. Look at Wilner looking very interested too. Pressure is high around this circuit. It's a fast flowing circuit, but the heartbeats will be racing as well. The nerves will be jangling. Every single driver knows there's a chance to win this Grand Prix as they get so close down towards turn 6. Caname was very smart because he made sure that Jensen didn't overtake him, and he made sure the crossfire strike stayed in first place to have a good chance of winning on the final lap in towards turn 1. That was very, very tactical there from Caname. My voice is starting to go, so thankfully the next lap is the last lap. It's been a fantastic race, but there's still one more lap of action around this Qatar track, and we'll see what happens going down towards turn 1. Who is going to be in first down towards turn 1? Could it be crossfire strikes? We're about to find out in a few moments time. We are on the final corner, which means this is the final lap of the Grand Prix. DRS will be enabled. The battery will be used down the straight. Let's see then what happens going down in towards turn 1. Here comes Caname. Crossfire strikes goes defensive, but down the inside in towards turn 1. Caname takes the lead, but crossfire strikes are on the outside. Here comes Jensen now on the McLaren driver as we head down towards turn 2. Jensen trying to go on the outside. Can he make it stick? It's so close. We are banging between those two as we exit turn 3. Crossfire strike, but here comes Jensen with the battery off the inside in towards turn 5, but he can't seem to make this corner stick as crossfire strikes goes off the track. Jensen's last chance is down towards turn 6. Caname has the inside line covered. Jensen's going to go around the outside in towards the turn 6 corner. Make contact! They're both off the track. Through goes Crossfire. Crossfire is in the lead of the Grand Prix as these two continue to scrap away. There can be more contact, I think, between these two as Hurricane is defending against Molnar. Wow, how things have changed on the final lap. Crossfire Strikes, who got demoted into P3 in turn 1, now leads the Grand Prix again after these two make contact in towards turn 6. And I dare say then the action is done and dusted because there's no chances now to overtake surely as we swoop through the left-hander into in towards turn 16. Hurricane trying to use the battery. There's no way. Yes, there is. He's on the inside. He makes contact. Falls him off the road. Here comes Molnar. But as we head onto the final corner, it is Crossfire Strikes who takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and he wins in Qatar. Jensen's at P2. Molnar finishes at P3. Hurricane's 4th. And Caname. Oh, Caname has been rattled through this Grand Prix. Literally rattled, bumped and bodged, and he finishes at P5. My voice has literally gone. Oh, what a race that was. Hurricane, that was very unorthodox from the Red Bull driver. We don't really see him making moves like that. A bit desperate, but he gave the place back. But he gave the place towards Molnar. So he didn't exactly give the place back towards Caname, did he? But Caname will be furious because he was going to go to winning the Grand Prix to get shoved off the track in the final corner. I've never seen Hurricane do something like that, which is very surprising indeed. But well done to Crossfire Strikes for winning the Qatar Grand Prix on his return back as well. That's his second win in 2 seasons as well. His first win this season. And Jensen is on the podium once again for the, I think, 5th time this season. Molnar gets a podium as well for the first time. Congratulations to Molnar. What a fantastic drive. It is his 3rd appearance here in SFR. Scored points in Monza, DNF'd in Brazil, but finishing in P3 here is not bad at all, and he'll be very happy and pleased with that one. Unfortunately, I know to let you guys down, but if you excuse me, I am a bit ill, so I will not do paid interviews. I don't want to talk to any of you. No, I'm joking. Hopefully the guys don't join before I end the stream, because I am in that party, but anyways, we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now, and join us back for the Canadian Grand Prix next week. I'll see you all later.